My friends, let me start with a question that will shake your spirit awake. What would your life look like if you finally decided to stop giving energy to what drains you and start giving energy to what builds you? Because the truth is simple. Your dream is not waiting on more time, more money, or more people. Your dream is waiting on YOU. Waiting on your focus, waiting on your energy, waiting on your willingness to believe that God didn't give you a vision to tease you. He gave you a vision to lead you. That's why today I want you to lean in, not casually, but intentionally, because what you hear right now can become the shift you've been praying for. Listen to me. Where your focus goes, your future grows. Most people don't fail because they don't have talent. They fail because they keep feeding the wrong things. They feed their fears. They feed their distractions. They feed the opinions of people who don't even care about their destiny. You cannot build a dream giving energy to what breaks you. You cannot walk in purpose while entertaining what weakens your spirit. If you want to change your life, you must change what you focus on. And if you want to change what you focus on, you must shift your energy from problems to possibilities, from excuses to execution, from waiting to working. Your focus determines your future, and the moment you truly understand that, everything about the way you move will begin to shift. Most people wake up every day and wonder why their life feels stuck, why opportunities keep passing them, why progress feels slow, but they never stop to examine the single force that shapes everything, what they consistently choose to focus on. Focus is not a small habit. It is a spiritual and strategic decision. It is the difference between living by intention and living by reaction. And here's the hook that should shake you awake. Your focus is the steering wheel of your destiny. Wherever you point it, your life will follow. If you keep directing it toward doubt, your journey will be filled with hesitation. If you direct it toward fear, your path will shrink. But if you direct it toward your dreams, your purpose, your calling, your entire future will open in ways you never imagined. Most people don't lose because they lack potential. They lose because they divide their focus. They want a breakthrough, but keep feeding their distractions. They want success, but give more attention to the obstacles than the opportunities. They want growth, but stay focused on people who drain them. You cannot walk into a big future with small focus. And here's the hook. Your focus is your internal compass. And if it's pointed in the wrong direction, you can pray, you can hope, you can dream, but you will always end up somewhere you never intended to be. Your life is only as powerful as the focus that drives it. When your focus is scattered, your energy is scattered. When your energy is scattered, your results are scattered. But when your focus locks onto something aligned with your purpose, everything else begins to come into order. The mind is a magnet, and whatever you consistently focus on, you pull closer. If you keep replaying past failures, you'll attract more fear. If you keep focusing on who hurt you, life will give you more reasons to feel wounded. But if you focus on possibility, you magnetize progress. If you focus on excellence, you magnetize opportunity. If you focus on purpose, you magnetize destiny. Your future isn't waiting on luck or chance. It's waiting on your focus to mature. The moment you direct your focus toward a God-given dream with clarity and conviction, heaven begins to rearrange things on your behalf. Doors open that were once locked. Ideas rise that were once buried. Strength appears that you didn't know you had. That is the divine power of focus. It activates every dormant part of you. Focus also requires discipline because the world is designed to distract you. Every notification, every opinion, every negative voice, every doubt tries to pull you away from your dream. And here's the hook: distractions. don't show up to entertain you. They show up to drain you. They come to rob you of the attention that should be invested in your destiny. Whatever steals your focus steals your future. You cannot afford to give your attention to anything that does not align with where you're going. That's why successful people seem intense, because they know their focus is sacred. They protect it like a treasure, because it is. When you choose to focus on your dream, everything inside you begins to rise to meet that decision. You start thinking differently, choosing differently, moving differently. You stop living on autopilot and start living with intention. You stop giving energy to limitations and start giving energy to possibilities. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating the right momentum. And here is the ultimate hook. The moment your focus shifts from fear to future, your life shifts from survival to destiny. Focus is not just a mental act. It is a spiritual alignment between your vision and your identity. When you focus on your dream, you are declaring to God, to the world, and to yourself that you are ready for the life you were created for. Shifting your energy toward what builds you is one of the most transformative decisions you will ever make, because your energy is one of the most valuable currencies you possess. Every day, without even realizing it, you are spending energy, mental energy, emotional energy, spiritual energy on something. And here's the hook that should wake you up. Whatever you consistently give your energy to becomes the architect of your future. If you give it to fear, fear will build your life. If you give it to excuses, excuses will shape your results. But if you give it to growth, purpose, and personal elevation, your life begins to shift in ways that feel almost supernatural. Energy is not random, it is directional. It follows your focus, and it fuels your destiny. When you learn to direct it with intention, everything in your life begins to align. There are people who wonder why they feel empty, drained, or unmotivated, and the answer is simple but profound. They are pouring energy into things that do not pour anything back. They invest in people who steal their peace, habits that weaken their discipline, thoughts that diminish their confidence. They water weeds and wonder why no flowers grow. You cannot build a strong future feeding a weak environment. And here's the hook. Your energy is too expensive to spend on things that don't produce a return. Every distraction, every negative conversation, every moment spent dwelling on things that don't elevate you is energy lost, and lost energy is lost progress. The dream is still possible, but the way you manage your energy determines whether you reach it or not. To shift your energy, you must first recognize where it's currently going. Many people underestimate how much emotional energy they waste replaying mistakes, comparing themselves to others, doubting their own abilities, or giving space to people who don't respect their value. These drains are subtle, but they are powerful. They are leaks in the foundation of your destiny. And here's the hook before your life rises. Your leaks must close. Your energy must be protected like a sacred resource. When you begin to shift your energy away from what depletes you and toward what builds you, you take back authority over your life. You rise above the noise. You reclaim your focus. You tap into strength you didn't even know was inside you. Shifting your energy also means shifting your mindset. Your thoughts are fuel, and the quality of your thinking determines the quality of your life. If your mind is filled with self-doubt, insecurities, and limitations, your energy will be heavy, scattered, and unfocused. But when your mind is filled with clarity, belief, faith, and purpose, your energy becomes powerful, directed, and unstoppable. And here's the hook: energy follows belief. When you believe you are capable, your energy rises. When you believe your dream is possible, your energy intensifies. When you believe you are chosen, your energy aligns with destiny. Belief is the ignition, energy is the engine. You need both to move. Another dimension of shifting your energy is understanding that growth requires intentional investment. You must pour energy into your skills, into your mindset, into your spiritual life, into your discipline. You cannot expect a life of excellence while living with habits of mediocrity. Excellence requires energy, consistent, focused, purpose-driven energy. Every hour you invest in your growth compounds into confidence. Every effort you invest in your discipline compounds into results. And here's the hook. The energy you give to your dream today becomes the strength of your future tomorrow. Nothing is wasted when it is invested with intention. When you start shifting your energy toward what builds you, people will notice. Your presence will feel different. Your conversations will elevate. Your boundaries will strengthen. Your sense of purpose will sharpen. You will start attracting opportunities, ideas, and connections that match the new level of energy you're operating in. That is not coincidence. That is alignment. That is your life responding to your energy. And the moment your energy aligns with your purpose, the universe begins to rearrange itself to support your elevation. So when you shift your energy, you are not just changing how you feel, you are changing who you become. You are stepping into a version of yourself that is stronger, wiser, more focused, and more capable. And once you experience the power of aligned energy, you will never again waste it on anything beneath your destiny. Protecting your environment is not just a motivational idea. It is a strategic and spiritual principle that determines how far your destiny can go. Your environment is shaping you every single day, whether you realize it or not. The conversations you hear, the people you allow close, the energy you absorb, the atmosphere you live in, all of these elements influence your mindset, your confidence, your decisions, and ultimately your future. And here's the hook that should hit you with force. Your environment is either fertilizing your destiny or suffocating it. There is no neutral ground. Every environment you stay in is doing something to you. It's either building you or breaking you, elevating you or draining you, sharpening you or dulling you. Your destiny depends on knowing the difference. People often underestimate the power of environment and overestimate their ability to resist it. They tell themselves they won't be influenced, they won't be affected, they won't be changed. But no matter how strong you think you are, you cannot rise higher than the atmosphere you consistently remain in. You cannot grow faith in a room filled with fear. You cannot build discipline surrounded by chaos. You cannot dream big while listening to small-minded people. And here's the hook. The wrong environment can make the right person feel incapable. You may have the talent, the calling, the anointing, the intelligence, and the potential, but if you're planted in the wrong soil, your growth will always be limited. Your environment is a reflection of your standards. What you allow around you reveals what you believe about yourself. When you tolerate negativity, you subconsciously say you deserve it. When you tolerate disrespect, you signal that your value is negotiable. When you keep environments that don't match your future, you anchor yourself to your past. This is why one of the most important decisions you will ever make is to become deliberate about what enters your personal space. Energy is contagious, mindsets are contagious, habits are contagious, and the people closest to you influence you more than you want to admit. And here's the hook. The fastest way to change your life is to upgrade your environment. When you begin protecting your environment, you start filtering your life. You become mindful of who gets access, who gets influence, and who gets a seat at your table. Not everyone deserves your energy, and not everyone deserves front row access to your future. Some people are meant to be loved from a distance, not lived with at close range. Some conversations are meant to be ended, not entertained. Some atmospheres are meant to be exited the moment you recognize they are shrinking your spirit. Growth requires boundaries, and boundaries require courage. The courage to say no, the courage to walk away, the courage to choose yourself, the courage to choose your future over familiar environments that no longer serve you. But protecting your environment is not only about what you remove, it's also about what you intentionally bring in. You must create environments that nourish your greatness, environments that strengthen your discipline, elevate your mindset, ignite your creativity, and deepen your faith. That might mean surrounding yourself with people who challenge you to think bigger, placing yourself in rooms where excellence is the norm, consuming content that elevates your standards, and cultivating habits that align with the person you are becoming. And here's the hook. Growth happens fastest in environments where greatness is normal. When you place yourself around driven, focused, high-value people, something inside you rises. You begin to mirror excellence because excellence becomes the atmosphere. Your environment also dictates your emotional state. When you choose peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, and purpose over distraction, your entire inner world begins to stabilize. You think better, feel better, decide better, and move better. This is why successful people are intentional about their environment. They know that their external atmosphere influences their internal state, and their internal state influences their external results. When your environment is aligned, your energy rises. When your energy rises, your decisions improve. When your decisions improve, your future accelerates. And here's the ultimate hook. Your destiny cannot grow in the wrong environment, no matter how strong your desire is. You can pray, work, sacrifice, and dream. But until you place yourself in an atmosphere that matches your assignment, you will always feel like something inside you is fighting to survive. Protect your environment, and you protect your purpose. When the room around you shifts, the life ahead of you shifts. That is the transformative power of your environment. Consistency is the bridge between the dream you imagine and the reality you desire. And once you understand this truth, the way you move through life will never be the same again. People often believe success comes from intensity, talent, or some sudden breakthrough, but the real power, the unstoppable, undeniable, unshakable power, comes from consistency. And here's the hook that should shift something inside you. Consistency beats brilliance when brilliance refuses to be consistent. You don't need to be the most gifted, the most experienced, or the most connected. You just need to be the one who refuses to stop showing up. The dream responds to those who are committed, not just those who are inspired. Many people start strong, but few stay steady. They get excited for a week, motivated for a moment, passionate for a season. But when things get uncomfortable, when progress is slow, when results are quiet, they pull back. And this is where destiny is lost, because the results you want rarely show up when you expect them. Growth hides itself until consistency proves you're worthy of the next level. And here's the hook. Your dream won't trust you until your habits do. You cannot achieve extraordinary outcomes with inconsistent effort. The small things you do every single day, your decisions, your focus, your attitude, your discipline, are the building blocks of your future. Consistency is not glamorous. It's not loud. It's not exciting. It's often lonely, repetitive, and quiet. But consistency is where champions are built and destinies are born. Every single day you commit to something aligned with your purpose, you are casting a vote for the person you are becoming. Even if you don't see immediate results, Your consistency is working behind the scenes, strengthening your character, sharpening your skills, expanding your capacity. And here's the hook: your consistency is creating progress that your eyes can't see yet. Just because the harvest isn't visible doesn't mean the seeds aren't growing. When you make consistency a lifestyle, you begin to realize something profound. Small actions, repeated faithfully, create massive transformation. A little discipline today turns into a habit tomorrow. A habit practiced consistently becomes a lifestyle. A lifestyle aligned with purpose builds a destiny filled with success. It's the person who practices for 10 minutes every day that becomes more skilled than the person who practices 2 hours once a month. It's the person who reads a few pages daily that becomes wiser than the person who waits for motivation to read a whole book in one sitting. It's the person who puts effort in every single day, even in small amounts, who becomes unstoppable. Because consistency compounds, and compounding is what creates extraordinary growth. Consistency also strengthens your mindset. Every day you show up, even when you don't feel like it, you train your mind to trust you. You build self-respect. You build self-belief. You build internal authority. You stop living controlled by emotions and start living controlled by decisions. And here's the hook: the most powerful version of you is the one who chooses discipline over mood. When you learn to act based on commitment instead of feelings, your entire life rises to a higher level. Your consistency becomes your identity, and your identity shapes everything you achieve. But to stay consistent, you must understand why you want what you want. When your purpose is strong, your consistency becomes natural. When you're connected to your why, the distractions lose their grip, the excuses lose their power, and your future becomes louder than your fears. You start waking up with intention instead of confusion. You start operating with discipline instead of hesitation. You start moving with momentum instead of uncertainty. And here's the hook: consistency becomes easy when the dream becomes real to you. The truth is, consistency will separate you from the average more than intelligence, talent, or luck ever could. The average person quits when things get slow, but the disciplined person perseveres. The average person waits for motivation, but the committed person shows up anyway. The average person gives up when progress isn't visible, but the consistent person knows progress happens internally before it manifests externally. And that difference, the difference in consistency, is the difference that creates destiny. Every great achievement in your life will be built one step at a time, one decision at a time, one disciplined moment at a time. Your dream is not asking you for perfection, it is asking you for persistence. It is asking you to keep going, to keep building, to keep believing. Because the moment you decide to stay consistent, even when it's hard, even when it's slow, even when it's invisible, something powerful happens. Your dream starts trusting you enough to unfold. Believing bigger, moving bolder, and expecting greater is not just a mindset, it is a spiritual posture that redefines everything about the way you pursue your destiny. The size of your belief determines the size of your future, because you will never rise higher than the limits you place on your own identity. And here's the hook that should shake something deep inside you. Your dream can't grow until your belief does. You can have talent, resources, opportunity, and even divine favor, but if your belief is small, your actions will be small. And when your actions are small, your results will always remain beneath your potential. Belief is the foundation. It is the power source. It is the internal engine that determines whether you walk, whether you run, or whether you fly. Most people dream with limitations already attached. They dream based on their past, based on their fears, based on their environment, or based on what others have told them is possible. But when you believe bigger, you stop dreaming from memory and start dreaming from vision. You stop thinking about what you've been through and start thinking about what you're called to. You stop living by logic and start living by purpose. And here's the hook: your belief either unlocks the door or keeps it locked. Every time you doubt yourself, you shut a door. Every time you reduce your dream to your comfort zone, you shrink your destiny. But every time you believe bigger, you push open a new level. Belief is the seed of boldness. When you truly believe something is possible, you move differently. You speak differently. You take actions that the average person would be too afraid to take. You stop waiting for perfect timing and start creating momentum. You stop asking for permission and start operating with conviction. You stop shrinking your dreams to fit your situation and start stretching your situation to fit your dreams. And here's the hook: bold moves create bold breakthroughs. You cannot tiptoe your way into a God-sized purpose. You must step boldly, speak boldly, and act boldly, because boldness attracts opportunity. But belief doesn't just influence how you move, it influences what you expect. And expectation is powerful. Expectation sets the tone of your reality. When you expect small, you accept small. When you expect little, you settle for little. But when you expect greater, you prepare for greater, you work toward greater, you attract greater, and you receive greater. Expectation is the spiritual signal you send into the universe saying, I am ready for more. And here's the hook: your expectations create your experiences. People who expect disappointment find it. People who expect failure walk into it. But people who expect favor, growth, breakthrough, and possibility position themselves to receive exactly that. You must also understand that believing bigger is not about denying your challenges. It's about refusing to let your challenges define you. Bold belief does not mean you won't face obstacles. It means obstacles won't stop you. It means you recognize that God didn't give you a dream without giving you the strength, the creativity, the resilience, and the divine support to accomplish it. Belief is trust. It is surrender. It is confidence that what is inside you is greater than anything you will face outside of you. And here's the hook: your belief is a weapon, not a wish. It empowers you to push through fear, to rise through difficulty, to keep moving when others would quit. Expecting greater also requires a shift in identity. You must begin to see yourself as someone worthy of success, someone capable of excellence, someone chosen for purpose. Because if you don't see yourself correctly, you will sabotage opportunities that were meant for you. You will reject what you prayed for. You will shrink in rooms you were born to lead. Believing bigger begins with believing differently about who you are. You are not defined by your past. You are not limited by your upbringing. You are not confined by your mistakes. You are designed by purpose, and purpose cannot be diminished by circumstance. And here's the ultimate hook: when you believe bigger, you give God more room to move in your life. When you move boldly, you activate favor. When you expect greater, you invite greater. The universe responds to your belief, your actions, and your expectations. Every breakthrough begins with a bold belief. Every transformation begins with a greater expectation. Every elevation begins with a decision to stop playing small. So when you believe bigger, move bolder, and expect greater, you don't just change your mindset, you change your entire trajectory. You align yourself with your purpose, your potential, and your divine assignments. And once you begin operating from that level of belief, nothing in your life stays the same. So as I close, let me speak this into your spirit with authority. Your dream is calling you. Your future is waiting for you. Your next level is ready for you. But nothing changes until you decide to shift your energy. Stop focusing on what you lack and start focusing on what you carry. Stop feeding your limitations and start feeding your potential. Stop waiting for the perfect moment and start building with the power you already have. You were created with greatness, designed with purpose, and equipped with everything you need to walk into your destiny. Focus on your dreams, shift your energy, and watch God shift your entire life.